Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Sakyadhita conference closing ceremony. It's amazing that we have made it this far. It has gone by so quickly. And what a wonderful and fortuitous occasion this has been for all of us. And my name is Sharon, and I am the new president of Sakyadhita. And I am so honored and humbled to follow in the footsteps of so many transformative, wonderfully powerful Buddhist women. And I know that I speak on behalf of the executive committee and the program committee and all of the other people who made this event happen, that we are first absolutely delighted to have been able to gather in this way during the pandemic. And number two, that we actually did it. The fact that we were able to gather as a global community in a virtual Sangha over multiple time zones during this pandemic to share wisdom, insight, compassion, and friendship for one another is testament to the fact that this Sakyadhita community is indeed strong, thriving, and empowering. We have had over 1,080 registered participants, again, over several time zones, which is miraculous. And it has been a delight to participate in, to observe, and engage with so many of you over the past few days. And one of my favorite things has been to watch the chat light up on Zoom with friends reaching out to one another across the world, listening to amazing presentations, and also listening to these engaging questions from the audience around the world and seeing you all support one another. What a gift. I also, I want to acknowledge that, of course, because of technology and the fact that this is the first time we have ever done this, and we were starting off by scratch to offer this conference online, there has been some access difficulty that we've noticed that has been reported. And I just want to make sure and assure you that all of the videos that you have registered for, that, or even the ones that were out of your time zone, all of these are going to be accessible on the Sakyadhita YouTube channel, and those will be available in just a few days after they're edited. And you will receive a link in your email once these are prepared, so you can go back and catch all of the wonderful workshops and presentations that either you were unable to access or that were simply out of your time zone. So thank you so much for being patient with us as we ventured into this new territory. And really what this online conference has shown us is that we have such a deep need for one another. There is no other organization like Sakyadhita that supports and sustains the particular needs of Buddhist nuns and lay people in such a generous and generative manner. And I just watched Venerable Karma Lexia Somo's work with the nuns of Zangskar, and I'm so amazed by her efforts to empower women through education. And as she put it so clearly in her presentation, she said, quote, "With education comes empowerment and confidence." And I was so inspired by this work that she had shared with us, and it really demonstrates the incredible value and need for Sakyadhita. So whether it's been through academic research and publication, networking, local grassroots efforts, and international gatherings, this remarkable organization, which started in Bodhgaya in 1987, through the pioneering efforts of Venerable Karma Lexia Tsomo, Ayya Khema, Venerable Dhammananda Bhikkhuni, Bhiksuni Jampa Sedron, and Ranjani de Silva, and so many others. These pioneering women have sustained us for decades, and we will continue to do so for decades to come. I want to express my thanks to my immediate predecessor, Jetsuma Tenzin Palmo, for all that you have done for Buddhist women and for Sakyadhita. And thank you to all of you who've made this event possible. From our event producers, without you, this would not have happened. So Austin Talley and Jackson Reddy, whom Jackson, most of you know him by now. Jackson has been up all night from the US taking care of all of our sessions. So I want to offer my sincere gratitude for all that you've done for us. And to the EC committee, the program committee, to all of you speakers, presiders, and workshop facilitators, and all of you who've registered for the first ever Sakyadhita online conference, thank you so much. Thank you also to the wonderful Korean translation team and for the Chinese translation team of Dr. Xiaolan Hu and April Wang. Special thanks also to Dr. Unsu Cho for all of the support she has given for this conference, and for Piling Low and all of our supporters from Sarawak. Thank you so much. And quite frankly, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge all of the efforts that Dr. Xiaolan Hu, Vice President, has made from the beginning all the way up to some last minute changes that we've had. And I am really grateful. Dr. Hu is the best Vice President one could hope for. Incredible skills with detail, which I might not have as much of. So thank you for that. And really, if you look around at all the people who are on the Zoom call, look at what we can accomplish together. So again, thank you so much for being here with us and for offering your support and helping us really create and feel this online virtual Sangha. So next, I want to move into the introduction to our most esteemed and highly regarded keynote speaker, Dr. Hema Goonatilake, and she will offer a keynote address for us. And I want to offer a very brief bio of Dr. Goonatilake. And Dr. Goonatilake earned her PhD from SOAS in London and has served as a gender expert at the United Nations in New York. And she was recognized by the Cambodian government for her work as a senior advisor in Buddhist studies. Dr. Goonatilake founded Red Lotus, an organization that provides humanitarian assistance, and is also past president of the Royal Asiatic Society Sri Lanka. You co-founded Voice of Women, an organization that campaigns for the rights of women and the Center for Women's Research. And she has also served as the president of the Sri Lanka Social Sciences Association for the Advancement of Science and as national president of the World University Service Geneva. So on behalf of Sakyadhita, welcome, welcome, welcome. And we really look forward to your address tonight.
Okay, thank you everyone. And as this is the last section of the conference, I would like to remind ourselves of some of the main teachings of the Buddha that relate to women. Life cycle of women, Buddhist theory, and contemporary reality. Buddhism, for the first time, recognized the fundamental equality of humankind as one community. Although there are individual differences, essential human nature is the same for all. In Buddhism, the notion of equality of humans is supported by biological and anthropological perspectives. Unlike in the case of plants and animals, which are characterized by different species, all the human beings should be looked upon as belonging to one single species. Physically and in other similar vital characteristics, all humans are the same, except for minor biological differences in the color of skin and other visible features. A human position in life is, however, determined either by temporal considerations, such as the division of labor in society, or through moral and spiritual factors. Social distinctions arose in settled society through a division of labor, culminating in a contract of society and a contract of government. Economic power could command the services of others, irrespective of social class. The Buddha did not address social differences in terms of sex. He placed men and women on the same level in attaining the highest goal of religious life, that is arahantship. And he said, and be it woman, be it and such vehicle doth wait, by the same vehicle into Nibbana shall they come. End of quote. In the Buddha's mind, there seemed to be no doubt about the equality of the power of men and women. Buddhist principles recognize the inherently equal capacity in every person, man and woman, to develop as full human beings. That is, free from socially structured male or female patterns of thought, speech, and behavior. Thus, according to the Buddha, concepts such as caste, race, and gender are socially constructed. Human beings are all born equal, and one's liberation can be achieved only by one's individual effort. In Buddhism, the birth of a girl was not met with despair. The Buddha said, I quote, a female offspring, well disciplined and educated, may prove even nobler than a male, end of quote. Marriage, divorce, widowhood, and remarriage. In Buddhism, marriage and divorce are purely secular affairs with no religious sanction. The contraction or dissolution of marriage is settled by the individuals or their families. Death is considered inevitable in Buddhism. Therefore, a woman suffers no disgrace nor receives low status when the husband dies. She does not have to shave her head, fast, or abstain from participating in auspicious events. There is no religious or social obstacle for remarriage. In Sri Lanka, Buddhist monks presented a document dated 1769, revealing that men and women had to prove similar grounds to obtain a divorce. At the divorce, the wife should be given back all the wealth her husband received from her parents and half the property acquired by the couple after marriage. But the Buddha describes the rights and obligations of husband and wife as follows. I quote, the husband's duties to a wife are A, be respectful, B, be courteous, C, be faithful, D, hand over authority to her, E, provide her with ornaments. The wife's duty to her husband are A, love him, B, perform her duties well, C, be hospitable to the relatives of both parties, D, be faithful, E, watch over family acquisition and discharge all her business with skill and industry. The above indicates the respect shown to the wife. It also reflects mutual love and faithfulness between husband and wife. In Theravada Buddhist countries in Southeast Asia, liberal attitudes towards women prevailed due to Buddhism. In Myanmar, a woman could, even before the British rule, get a divorce if the husband ill-treated her, if he could not maintain her, or because of sterility or infidelity on the part of the woman. In Thailand too, a woman could demand a divorce. In Buddhism, the birth of a girl was not considered a cause for despair. And in fact, every family yearns at least one female child. This reflects the expectation that a girl would take good care of the parents in old age, as well as the practical value of a daughter's assistance to the mother when taking care of the family. Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand, the caste system and the concept of dowry did not exist. In fact, it is the husband's family that gives gifts to the bride and spends more for the wedding. In Sri Lanka, however, the caste system and the concept of dowry are still in existence, but to a much lesser extent than in India. As during the Buddha's time, neither marriage nor divorce has religious significance, although monks are generally invited to bless the couple before the wedding ceremony. A virginity before marriage is considered a great virtue for women, and arranged marriages have been replaced more and more by love marriages. The role of women as mothers. The position of a woman as a mother was accorded the highest respect and veneration. The Buddha also taught that the mother should be regarded as the first teacher, the supreme being, and the enlightened one. I quote, "The teacher is 10 times more venerable than the sub-teacher, the father, 100 times more than the teacher, but the mother, 1,000 times more than the father." The position of women in Asia is reflected in the saying, "Mother is the Buddha at home." These are the ideals. To what extent do the current practices conform to the original Buddhist principles in today's society? The rights of women. In Buddhism, women's right to inherit, own, and dispose property was acknowledged. Another area where the woman's right was acknowledged was in the choice of careers for the children. Religious traditions tended to lose their original strength and meaning as societies gained greater complexity in political, economic, and social situations. In traditional societies, where the Buddhist temple was the educational, social, and cultural center, both men and women participated in all activities, although men participated more actively in the public domain. Women worked together with women in rice fields and in home-based industries, although there was a division of labor. After the advent of colonialism, except in Thailand, Western-style factory production was introduced, and women began to be exploited more than men. Lower wages were given to women for the same work as men. Urbanization and modernization brought new forms of exploitation. In cities, new forms of entertainment and leisure were introduced, such as nightclubs and massage parlors. Women began to be increasingly engaged in prostitution and working as bar girls, go-go dancers, and masseurs. Prostitution grew further due to transnational organized tourism. Speaking of girls and women has added yet another dimension to prostitution. Girls began to be sold by their parents as a survival strategy. HIV, AIDS began to be the newest and most dangerous issue affecting some of these countries. Buddhism and social commitment. The Buddha paid great emphasis on the inseparable relationship between the individual and society, and the ability of every individual to think of his own welfare and that of others. Thus, Buddhism expects one to be concerned not only with one's own moral development, but also with that of others, while acknowledging that one can only do this if one is transformed. Buddhism is very much rooted in the present. It takes a realistic view of life and of the world, seeing things as they are. This attitude to sexual misconduct. In Buddhism, sex has been viewed as an expression of conjugal love and satisfying as an emotional experience. Chastity and fidelity are cited as ideal forms of behavior for a successful married life. During the Buddha's time, Monogamy was the accepted system of marriage, although polygamy was a customary right of kings and nobles. His view of adultery was severe. I quote, "Let the wise man avoid unchaste life as a burning heap of coals, not being able to live a life of chastity. Let him not transgress with another man's wife." The Buddha even went further by saying, I quote, "Not consented with one's own wife, seeking harlots and wives of others. This is the cause of one's own downfall." The termination of the quote, the conclusion is, there is much in Buddhist teachings that could be applied to the day-to-day life of modern times to help us combat the exploitation and misery around us. We need to look closely at how to apply Buddhist principles, seeking to eradicate or reduce people's suffering. The most vulnerable section of the population are women and children. And we need to exercise moral responsibility to see that problems are addressed. There is a need today more than ever to adhere to core Buddhist values and to develop the will to act so that the word of the Buddha is used for the good and welfare of many. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gunatilake. Please join me in thanking Dr. Gunatilake for her remarks. And as has been noted in the chat, of course, Dr. Gunatilake has been a key figure in the revival of the Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha. So please feel free to drop in the chat your support and your thoughts on Dr. Gunatilake's wonderful talk today. One of the great things about being on Zoom is that we can make access and have access to the Zoom chats, which we will save. So thank you so much. Now, the next thing that we're going to have is a PowerPoint presentation. And this will be a presentation by Gabriela Frey, who is a representative of Sakyadhita France and Sakyadhita Germany, and she will be narrating a video on the current conditions and status of Buddhist nuns and women in Europe. And we wanted to add this significant video as Sakyadhita France and Germany had proposed a workshop originally that somehow was missed along the way. And so we were fortunate enough to be able to at least honor their work by providing this PowerPoint presentation. So thank you.
Dear friends, for the 17th International Congress of Sakyadhita, which takes place online, Sakyadhita France and Sakyadhita Germany wish to make a modest contribution about the situation of Buddhist women and nuns in Europe. The topic of the 17th Sakyadhita Congress reflects very closely the many years of cooperation between Sakyadhita members in France and Germany. Bhikshuni Jampatsedran, Dr. Carola Roloff, founding member of Sakyadhita International, started in 1987 to make known work and goals of Sakyadhita in Germany and in Europe. Thanks to her encounter with Gabriela Frey, Sakyadhita France was founded in 2006 as Registered Charity Association in Strasbourg, seat of several European institutions. Since then, the members of Sakyadhita have enjoyed working together across borders in Germany, France, the UK and other countries as often as possible to put common goals into practice. With our few resources available to many women and Buddhist nuns, important projects can be planned and realized only collectively, such as conferences, social projects, websites, teaching tours of female Buddhist teachers, contributions to interfaith and intra-Buddhist forums. When Sakyadhita France became a member of the European Buddhist Union in 2007, it started to represent the European branches of Sakyadhita there and launched the EBU Shared Interest Network Women in Buddhism with its trilingual website. Sakyadhita member facilitated the EBU in 2008 to obtain the participatory status in the Council of Europe in the Conference of INGOs. Since then, Gabriela Frey has officially represented the European Buddhists in the Council of Europe. Together, we are particularly engaged in the topics of human rights and religion, gender equality, and interfaith dialogue at European level. A special highlight in 2016 was Jetsun Matenzin Palmo's participation in a conference at the Council of Europe with the interfaith debate, Are Religions a Place for Women's Emancipation? Progress and Setbacks. Since 2021, Gabriela Frey has been elected co-chair of the Committee for Interreligious and Interconvictional Dialogue in the Conference of INGOs at the Council of Europe. The European Buddhist Union is an international association of Buddhist organizations and national Buddhist unions in Europe, founded in 1975. National Buddhist unions from 14 European countries form a committee within the EBU to share experiences and support each other. In Europe, Buddhism is a minority religion and not yet everywhere fully recognized. Whether and how Buddhism is recognized as a religion has an influence on how monastics are supported. As National Buddhist Union's network coordinator, Gabriela Frey has started to find out how many monastics and especially nuns live in the respective European countries. This work is not finished yet. It would be very fruitful if more Sakyadhita branches and members in Europe would network and support each other to improve the situation of Buddhist nuns and women. Ordained women have shaped the Buddhist tradition in teaching and practice, but always lacked support and recognition. But within the last 2,500 years, social conditions have changed tremendously. Committed women no longer accept the obvious discrepancy between the Buddha's teachings transmitted to us and the reality lived today. Full ordination is indispensable to allow nuns of all Buddhist schools to lead a self-determined life according to the Vinaya. Only then nuns can fully realize the full spectrum of a monastic education and develop a monastic lifestyle in independent monasteries. The desire for a monastic life can only grow among women if a corresponding infrastructure is available to them. However, this infrastructure is rarely available in Europe as women and nuns often are lacking substantial support. Many women cannot afford to take nuns' vows or they abandon them quite soon due to the various hindrances and isolation. Yet, well-trained Buddhist nuns and women could provide orientation and support for people in difficult life situations, especially in these troubled times. The German director of studies, Ursula Brambusch-Schelen, learned about the difficult situation of Buddhist women and nuns. Before she died in 2015, she left 500,000 euros to the German Buddhist Union for the benefit of Buddhist nun projects. Bhikkhuni Jampatsedan, Gabriela Frey, and Reverend Vajramala, together with other members of the German Buddhist unions, were able to establish the Brambusch-Schelen Foundation for Buddhist Nuns on April 1st, 2019, after 2 years of preparation. The purpose of this foundation is to promote Buddhist nun projects and to support women on their way to ordination. The foundation aims to raise public awareness about the living conditions of Buddhist nuns of different traditions and to facilitate the integration into European society. With her generous legacy, Ursula Brambusch-Schelen has set an example and created the financial basis of sustainably promoting and improving the life conditions of Buddhist nuns in Europe. The benefactress intended that the work should not be focused on the preservation of outdated traditions, but on opening up to modern perspectives for Western Buddhist nuns who wish to live self-determinedly according to the Vinaya in the 21st century. According to its statutes, the Brambusch Scheelen Foundation is limited to a duration of 20 years. To ensure that the support for Buddhist nuns and women will exist beyond this period, the German Sakyadhita branch had to be founded as a non-profit association. On 10th of December 2021, the founding meeting of Sakyadhita Germany as a registered association was held online due to Corona restrictions. The founding and the elected board members are long-term Sakyadhita members from Germany and France. Thus, a solid basis could be created to offer sustainable support and promote better life conditions for Buddhist women aspiring to become shamanekas and bhikshunis in Germany and in Europe. The funds of the foundation can only provide startup financing for monastery projects or support existing communities of nuns. Much remains to be done, but with the new Sakyadhita Germany Association, Sakyadhita France, and many other friends in Europe, we have a very promising team to meet the challenges lying ahead. Here you can find further information on our different websites. Thank you for listening and wishing you all a very fruitful Congress.
Thank you so much. And it's wonderful to hear all the developments happening in Europe for Buddhist nuns. So really appreciate the presentation that was offered to us. And now we're going to move into a beautiful musical performance by Imee Ooi. Many of you have already noted how much you appreciate and love her music. So without further ado, we'll play that video.
Namo
That was a beautiful performance. And I just wanted to read something that Pailing Lo noted in the chat, which I thought was wonderful. She wrote that 2020 is coming to an end. In this trying time of the pandemic and natural calamities, may we survive and stay strong by cultivating abundance of peace, compassion, and kindness. May our music containing the light of Dharma bring you calmness and courage to peacefully encounter reality. And I certainly feel that way when I listen to this music. So thank you for sharing that with us. And in the chat, it was also noted that there will be a home concert by Imee Ooi and JSJG on the 29th of December, 9 p.m. Malaysia time. And it will be a one-time broadcast only and available also on YouTube and a Facebook live stream for those of you who are interested in having a chance to listen again to the beautiful music. Next up, we have 3 sets of chanting. First by Malaysian Chinese Mahayana chanting, and then we will have Tibetan chanting and Vietnamese chanting. So without further ado, let's play that.
Today we are the nuns of Changchuk Training, Zangskar, India. We would be performing a chant named as Lamdim. The Lamdim chant is the sacred chant which cultivates body, mind, and show the path of deep samadhi. We seek the blessing of all the deities and masters to enlighten us.
Hi, thank you so much for the wonderful chants. And I wanted to take this time because these have been coming up in the chat, but I really wanted to take the time to dedicate this conference to the many Sakyadhita members and supporters and Buddhist teachers and practitioners who have passed on this year. And just reading from the chat, Aya Tataloka Terry reminds us to recognize that one of our founding Sakyadhita members, Venerable Bhikkhuni Kusuma from Sri Lanka, former president of Sakyadhita Sri Lanka, known as Sri Lanka's first Bhikkhuni in the modern era, passed away this past year of COVID, and to share blessings from all of us and from this whole conference with her. And Dr. Sharon, who reminded us that Meichi Sansini, who hosted the 12th Sakyadhita conference in her beautiful in-city garden, also passed. I also want to acknowledge feminist scholar, public intellectual, and Buddhist practitioner Bell Hooks, recently passed. And finally, most venerable Sayadaw U Nyaninda in Bodhgaya, who was such a great supporter of Sakyadhita and international Bhikkhuni ordinations in Bodhgaya over the years, also passed away from COVID. And the last person mentioned in the chat was Aya Vayama, who started Dhammasara Nunnery in Western Australia. So I want to take a moment and remind and remember these incredible people and dedicate this closing ceremony to them. And the final videos that we'll see tonight are a presentation by Bongak Sunim of Korea and the Korean Bhikkhuni Association, and a short video on Welcome Korea. Thank you.
세계 곳곳에 계시는 존경하는 스님들 그리고 여러 여성 후자님들
It's very nice to meet you, all the venerables and Dharma sisters around the world. My name is Bongak, and I'm the president of the Korean Bhikkhuni Association of Joge Order. First of all, I would like to express my sincere admiration and gratitude to Malaysia and all Sakyadhita friends and staffs for preparing and hosting the 17th Sakyadhita Malaysia Conference. Despite many difficulties due to COVID-19, you did a great job in this big event. At the same time, since the 8th Sakyadhita Korean Conference was held at the Sangskar University in 2004, it is a big honor and joy to hold the 18th Sakyadhita Conference here in Korea in 2023 once more. Based on our past experience, we will do our best to greet you for this upcoming event so that it can be a venue for harmony and unity for Sakyadhita, the daughters of the Buddha all over the world. I hope that you all stay healthy and safe until we get together face to face here in Korea in 2023.
Welcome to Korea!
right, everybody. So who's excited for Korea 2023? I'm very excited by it. So thank you so much for the invitation and for hosting us. I can't wait. So as we draw our closing ceremony in this wonderful conference to a close, I wanted to offer some time for those of you who are in the audience to share some of the highlights of this conference for you. So you can feel free to just drop in the chat some of the highlights, things that you've appreciated, particular events, etc. We'd love to hear from you. Just take a moment to get that going. Yes, so I'm seeing movement and dance as practices that are grounding us now. The sublime Tara dances. If you haven't seen them, they will be available on YouTube. And the keynote by Sister Malia. Again, another comment about the Tara dance. This is not to be missed. So make sure that you check out those videos as well. And I'm seeing just comments about the coming together of everybody here. Also, Pema Khandro Rinpoche's leadership workshop, I guess somebody had noted that as well. So many memorable things, but especially moved by the Zangskar film and the nuns there. Wow, there's so many great comments that I can't even read them all. The interfaith discussions, Dr. Butler's offering of a beautiful and easy dance, which can be practiced at home. Hearing Dr. Lekshe Somo speak again, and yes, I agree, absolutely, her spirit is so uplifting. And there's also been a request for online options in the future. So it just looks like there have been everyone has just really wonderfully appreciated all the presentations. And we know that you can't get to all of them. So we're so lucky to have Jackson and Austin edit these videos for us and make them available. So just take a look in the chat for future things coming and other events and highlights in the conference for you. And let's see, I also see very thankful for the atmosphere of sharing even virtually and the sense of dialogue with all of the diversity from Diane Butler from Indonesia. Yeah, just keep reading in the chat. It's lovely. It's wonderful to be here with all of you and to share these experiences. The next thing I want to do is just, if there are national branches and national branch representatives present, and I know that there are, please do go ahead and put, not in the chat, but put in the Q&A your names and your email addresses, and we're going to be contacting you. We've made an effort to contact many of the national branches, but some of those emails have actually bounced back to us, and we want to make sure that we have the most accurate email addresses for you. So once again, please do put in the Q&A your national branch and your national branch email address so that we can stay up to date. And we'll be saving the chat and the Q&A for later to get back to you for any further comments and questions that you might have. And the next thing I want to move into, and I'm going to ask those of you who are putting these into the chat, the national branches, please do put them actually in the Q&A because there's so much movement in the chat that I can't possibly keep up. So I'm seeing Wendy, you put your email address in the chat or in the Q&A. Thank you for that. If you can also let us know what national branch you're representing, that would be really helpful. Thank you so much for all of your support here and putting your national branch contacts in the Q&A. Now, some of the more additional fun stuff that we can do by virtue of Zoom here is that we also would like to facilitate future interest group discussions over Zoom in the next few months. And we have this wonderful Zoom platform that we can use. And so it would be great if you have particular interest groups that you'd like to form. If you want to go ahead and put those in the Q&A and not in the chat, that would be helpful as well. So again, any future interest groups that we can help facilitate online. So go ahead and put those in the Q&A. In terms of different things, questions being asked, will videos of this conference events be made available? Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, Sakyadhita has its own YouTube channel, and so we will have all of these videos for every presentation, every workshop, opening and closing ceremony available in a few days, and you will receive an email link letting you know when those are available. All right, so once again, any kind of future interest groups, oh, excuse me, the workshops will not be on the YouTube channel. My apologies for that. But again, any kind of interest groups that you would like to form, please put those in the Q&A. And finally, you can put in the chat, and I just wanted to note, Jackson, you're receiving a lot of love here and a lot of gratitude and thanks. One of the things that you probably have no idea that Jackson does is that after every video, he actually times for me 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, so that I can actually come on at the exact moment when the video ends. So there's so many things that go on behind the scenes that make it look so seamless. So again, Jackson and Austin, thank you for that. So let's go ahead and open up in the chat what you would like to see in the next conference, maybe next kinds of themes, workshops, panels. I know that there was mention of wanting to do something on domestic violence and abuse, and so I think that was an important one. So please go ahead and put that back in. The film screening session I see in there. From Katie Sumida, she noted that the opening ceremony and keynote is now available on YouTube, and you'll also get that information separately in your emails as well. But we rely on you to generate some themes and different kinds of panels and workshops. So please do put those in, and that will help us in the future. I'm seeing how Dhamma can help with mental illness. That's wonderful. Different kinds of discussions available, that disaster preparedness and response for nunneries and retreat centers. Yes, absolutely timely. So we will be saving this chat and saving the Q&A. So again, feel free to just keep putting things in to the chat. And if you're having trouble putting things in the Q&A, you can go ahead and put it in the chat, and we will save those and get back to you if you've provided your email. All right, so I can see the chat is quite busy. A group on panel or lay teachers, emphasis on sila, definitely wonderful ideas here. And I'll just read a couple more. Climate despair, absolutely. I'm seeing a lot of support and requests for more presentations by Pema Chondro. So absolutely put all of your interests and themes and questions, etc. In the chat. I am also seeing mental health impacts of COVID-19 on monastics. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so you keep that going, and we will save those and probably come up with a great list, and also send these over to Sakyadhita Korea as well. So as we bring this conference to a close, I also want to note some of the things that we'll be working on as an executive committee, and things that I'm hoping to do as your president. And thank you for being generous and supportive and patient with me as a new president. But I myself and the executive committee will be working on the creation of an international board of directors comprised of representatives that are selected from each of the national branches. And so this is why we have been asking for your updated email addresses. Our corresponding secretary, Venerable Tian Lien, has been sending out many letters to this effect, but unfortunately, many of them get bounced back to us. And so I want to make sure that we have as many people as possible to create and populate this international board of directors. And this is in line with our bylaws of Sakyadhita. And sometimes people ask me, well, what do you want to do as president? And I'm definitely come from a background of administration and working in nonprofit organizations. And to me, the health of any nonprofit organization is alignment with its bylaws. It might not be the most exciting thing, but it is the one thing that will keep us strong and healthy in the years to come. And so that is the kind of work that I myself am dedicating my work towards. So making sure that we're sticking with the bylaws, adhering to them, which include the creation of this international board of directors. So please know that we'll be reaching out to you and that you do have an important role to play in Sakyadhita International. Other things that we'll be working on, we'll be organizing interest groups via Zoom. And I'm noticing that there are some important questions coming up with things, themes, etc. So one of the most recent ones I'm seeing from Aya Tatalokoteri, is there a place for non-binary people in traditionally binary Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni Sanghas? This might be one of those things that we can organize an interest group for. And supporting Western nuns living outside of an established Sangha, etc. So these are many of the things that we will be able to organize over the next couple months via Zoom. So these are things, if you're interested in, that you also can help facilitate for us. And other things coming up in the future, I know Dr. Unsuto and Venerable Carmelek Shisomo will be working on creating a Sakyadhita archive. And so I will be lending whatever support I can, as well as president of Sakyadhita and also as a professor, maybe looking for some research grants. This is a wonderful way to continue the legacy of Sakyadhita. And so on that fine note, I want to thank all of you for your incredible support and participation in this first online conference. And it has gone so well, and all of you have been incredible support. So thank you again for all of our producers, our executive committee, all of the past presidents, all of the past executive committees. I know that there are many names that I named, and of course, twice as many that I have not been able to name during this time. And all of our participants, all of our presenters, workshop leaders, presiders, and all of our participants. You have made this an incredible event. And I hope that we will see you in Korea in 2023 and in Sarawak again in 2025. So this ends the formal part of our closing ceremony. So thank you so much. And we can keep things going for a couple more minutes to add things into the chat. But thank you again.